What's up, YouTube? It's Onion Bomb here, and welcome to week 14 of my NFL 2018/19 game predictions. Man, it's already week 14. This NFL season is nearly over. We still got a couple weeks, but it's definitely coming down to it. So yeah, before we get into week 14, let's review what happened week 13, because it's coming down to it. So this definitely has to matter. Final stretch, can't get too many predictions wrong to drop that overall. Right now, honestly, it's looking like it's pretty slow for my bad, I dropped the bull. Sorry, bull. It's looking pretty slow for Madden, who is still under the hundreds in predictions correct. But last week I went 9-7. Pretty good. Alright, not the best. But I actually did the best out of everyone. The bull actually did the worst with 7-9, and Madden doing a little bit better, but still not the best, of 8-8. Madden, that's definitely an improvement for Madden though, because I had like at least 3 straight weeks of only getting like 5 or 6 predictions correct, so a little bit better. Although if Madden wants to get back in this, it has to do really well. I think the bull and me have to do really bad, which is still possible, but yeah, it's never good when you it's out of your control. For when you have to do stuff, like if a team has to have another team to lose in order to make the playoffs, that's never a good sign. But last week was just very weird because I mean, no one did that bad, but like, I don't know, I thought I was gonna do horrible because I started very bad, very slow. If we look at the games here, Saints versus the Cowboys, all 3 of us got that wrong right off the bat with the Saints. That was a crazy game. Wasn't expecting that. Ravens versus the Falcons. I got that right with the Ravens. The Bull got that wrong with the Falcons. And Man got that wrong with predicting a tie. Panthers versus the Buccaneers. I got that wrong with the Panthers, but the Bull and Man got that right with the Buccaneers. Chargers versus the Steelers. I unfortunately got that wrong with the Steelers. Very upset about that as a Steelers fan. And the Bull and Man got that wrong. I'm sorry, I got that right with the Chargers. Bears versus the Giants. Me and the Bull got that wrong with the Bears, but Man got that right, the Giants. The Bills versus the Dolphins. I got that wrong with the Bills, but the Bull and Madden got that. Oh, sorry. Me and Madden got that wrong with the Bills, but the Bull got that right with the Dolphins. Broncos versus the Bengals. I got that right with the Broncos, but the Bull and Madden got that wrong with the Bengals. Rams versus the Lions. If I can do this flawless once, I think I might get $100. Me and the Bull got that right with the Rams, but Madden got that wrong with the Lions. Cardinals versus the Packers. All 3 of us got that wrong with the Packers. Texans versus the Browns. We all 3 got that right with the Texans. Jesus. Colts versus the Jaguars. Me and the Bull got. Oh my God! I am so sorry. Me and the Bull got that wrong with the Colts, but Man got that wrong with the Jaguars. Jaguars finally won a game here. Of course, the minute I don't take them. Jets versus the Titans. That was a spooky one. But the Titans brought that back, so me and Man got that right, but the Bull got that wrong with the Jets. Chiefs versus the Raiders. Honestly, that should have been a higher than it was, but I got that right with the Chiefs. The Bull and Man got that wrong with the Raiders. Vikings versus the Patriots. We also got that right with the Patriots. 49ers versus the Seahawks. I got that right with the Seahawks. Bull got that wrong with the 49ers, and Man got that wrong with the tie. And Redskins versus the Eagles. We all 3 got that right with the Eagles. Now, with that all being recap, let's move in and predict the week 14 games. Alright, let's start off with Thursday Night Football. The Jaguars at the Titans. And I'm going Titans. The Titans have had the Jaguars' numbers for a while. Even last year, they beat them both times, even when the Jaguars were doing very good, did really good. And they beat them earlier this year, so I don't see a reason why not to take the Titans here. They beat the Jets. The Jaguars beat the Colts, but only by 6. I think this is going to be another very low-scoring game, like the first one was. But I think the Titans can come out on top here. I just see it happening. Plus, they got the home field advantage. But so yeah, I can't take the Jaguars. I have no reason to. Even though the Jaguars finally won, they let me down too many times this year for me to have faith in them again. The Bulls gonna also take the Titans and say they beat the Jaguars. But Madden's actually gonna stick with the faith with the Jaguars. It worked for him last week, so why not? And say the Jaguars beat the Titans, 31-13. Yeah, that better be a lot of defensive touchdowns there, man, because Jaguars offense is not putting up that much numbers. Alright, next up we have the Jets at the Bills. Now this was a very hard one for me to predict. I just couldn't really tell. I could see either team winning this, either team losing this. I ended up going with the Bills. Just because, it's not even because of the home field advantage, because I don't really look at that always. But I just have more faith in the Bills. The Jets blew a lead. The Bills lost. I know. I know. I just said it was. Oh, they lost to the Dolphins. Yes. But I think they can have what it takes to beat the Jets. I'm feeling the Bills here in this matchup. I don't know why. Could be wrong. This one's a big toss-up for me. But I am going with the Bills. The Bulls also gonna take the Bills to beat the Jets. And Madden's actually gonna pick the Jets to beat the Bills, 20-16. Pretty decent score for that one. Yeah, that one's a very close game. Even both teams are very mediocre. So yeah, they're very close in skill range. So yeah, that's a hard one. Probably one of the hardest this week to predict. Next up, at least for me, next up we have the Giants at the Redskins. I am going with the Giants. The Giants really proved something to me by beating the Bears. I have been sleeping on the Giants recently. Well, I think I did once and it worked. Last week it didn't work, and a couple weeks ago I don't think it worked. So I'm finally gonna take the Giants here. I need to put some more faith in them. Plus the Redskins, they have Mark Sanchez. Yeah, I don't see them doing anything with that. I just don't think they can get going with that. I think the Giants can at least get this one as a win. That's just me. The Bulls going to actually agree with me and say the Giants beat the Washington Redskins. But Madden is for the third time in a row is going to be the odd man out and pick the Washington Redskins to beat the Giants 27-12. Maybe Mark Sanchez has a game like Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know. It could, honestly. I guess that one could go either way, but I just don't have faith in the Redskins after the Alex Smith injury. And the Giants really proved something to me when they were able to beat the Bears. And I even though they had Chase Daniel, I just think the Giants got that one. All right, next up we have the Saints at the Buccaneers. The first matchup was Week 1, and the Buccaneers beat the Saints with Fitzmagic, and that's what started that whole thing. And the Saints only are lost to the Buccaneers and the Cowboys so far, which is kind of crazy. The Saints were able to beat the Rams. Saints are still a really good team. The Buccaneers have been struggling. I don't think the Saints are going to allow the Buccaneers to beat them twice and sweep them this year. So I'm going to go with the Saints being able to beat the Buccaneers. It's an easy pick. I don't know what's going with the Buccaneers, honestly. I don't know I think it's Jameis Winston at quarterback, so they're not going to have Fitzmagic this time. I don't know if I were the Buccaneers, if they're not doing anything by halftime, I would put in Fitzmagic because they did once to this team already. Well, we have to lose. You're not looking like you're making the playoffs. Actually, I don't think you can even mathematically make the playoffs, so I don't know. So yeah, I think the Saints are going to have an easy win there regardless of what happened Week 1. The Bulls also going to say the Saints win this game against the Buccaneers. And Madden's going to make this a three-way agreement saying the Saints beat the Buccaneers 34-31. A close game, It probably will be a little bit somewhat close. But, yeah, I think we can all agree that the Saints are most likely going to be on top. If they don't, then that's just very weird and a big upset. Alright, next up we have the Patriots at the Dolphins. Now, at Miami, in Miami is always scary for the Patriots. Last year they lost, and they haven't really been, they don't really play well in Miami. Regardless, though, I am going to take the Patriots here. I think they will be able to win this one, even if, regardless of how close the game is. I think the Patriots are going to win. I know they lost this last year, but I mean, they did lose this a couple times before, but they have won this too, and I think they're going to win this. The Bulls actually going to go with the Dolphins upset and say the Dolphins beat the Patriots in Miami, which is entirely possible. But Madden's going to take the Patriots with me and say the Patriots beat the Dolphins 24-21. I like that score a lot, Madden. I think it is going to be a close game with the Patriots coming out on top. So, yeah, 24-21. I like that score for that game. Alright, next up we have the Ravens at the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs, definitely. The Chiefs are still a very, very good team. They're a very good team. They lost Kareem Hunt with that incident. Regardless of that, Spencer Ware can at least give them some level of run game. Not as good of a run game with Kareem Hunt, but they're still gonna be decent. They still have a lot of weapons. It's not over for the Chiefs. They're still pretty good. They beat the Raiders. I think they can beat the Ravens. They better beat the Ravens because they've beaten the Steelers, Bengals, and Browns. They better. If they can beat my team, the Steelers, and they should. I really hope they beat the Ravens because the Steelers really need that because the Steelers choked to the Chargers and the Broncos. So the division's not locked up anymore. I guess it never was. So I think that I do think the Chiefs are the better team than the Ravens, so I'm going to pick the Chiefs. The Bull is going to agree with me and say the Chiefs will beat the Baltimore Ravens. Man's going to make this a three-way tie saying the Chiefs beat the Ravens 27-24. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a decision than that. I think the Chiefs are going to win a little bit more heavily, but you know, we'll see. Next up, we have the Colts at the Texans. And the Colts just got shut out by the Jaguars, but they only lost by 6 points still. It looked like a very boring game. The Colts still have something there, but the Texans have something more. They've been on a huge game-winning streak after going like 0-3. I'm taking the Texans. I think they're going to win this one. I think they're the better team here. And after the Colts had their performance, and regardless of their performance, I just don't think they're going to be the team to stop the Texans. I just don't like it. The Colts being the ones to stop the Texans, I don't think it's going to happen. You never know, but I think the Texans got this one. The Bulls going to actually take the Colts to upset the Texans and end their big losing streak. I mean, hey, it's a divisional rival. I guess it's possible. I personally just don't see it, but the Bull does, so maybe. Mine's going to take the Texans, though, 26-21. They beat the Colts, and I can see that happening as well. I guess that's more of a toss-up than I think it is, but I personally have more faith in the Texans to win this game than the Colts. But I've been wrong sometimes, so I could be wrong now. Alright, next up we have the Rams at the Bears. This is actually going to be a really good game. The Bears just choked to the Dolphins, though. They did have Chase Daniel and not Mitchell Trubisky as quarterback. So I don't know what's going on with their quarterback situation. Regardless of that, though, I think the Rams are the better team here. I know the Bears have a pretty good defense. And they can do something on offense. But the Rams are just an overall really good offense and really pretty good defense too. They're just an overall really good team. They've lost to the Saints. So far that's it. The Saints are a good team too. So I just think the Rams are going to do it. I'm taking the Rams to beat the Bears. The Bears, it's not impossible for the Bears to beat the Rams. I just don't see it. I have more faith in the Rams to beat the Bears. I think the Rams are the better team here. So that's why I'm taking the Rams to beat the Bears. The Bulls going to agree with me and say the Rams are going to beat the Chicago Bears. Madden's going to make this three-way agreement saying the Rams beat the Bears 35-21. I actually also like that score for that game. That's pretty good. Madden's been giving me some decent scores for this game, for this year. I mean, for this week. If I could speak. Next up we have the Panthers at the Browns. Yeah, I'm taking the Panthers finally snapping their losing streak here. I kind of feel bad because after they lost to my team, the Steelers, we kind of broke them. Like they haven't been winning. I still been taking them. I still think they're a decent team. I don't know what happened. They just started losing all of a sudden. The teams they should have beaten too. Like I don't know. I think, but this is the Browns. I think they're definitely, regardless of their losing streak, they're definitely a better team than the Browns. I think they're going to win here, so I'm going to take the Panthers to beat the Browns. If they lose here, though, I think it might be over for the Panthers, and I probably won't pick them next week. But, man, they have to win this game. I just don't see them losing here either, so I'm not sure. The Bull, however, does see them losing and is going to pick the Cleveland Browns to upset the Carolina Panthers. The way they've been playing and losing, I guess. Well, actually, Christian McCaffrey has been giving me some decent fantasy points. So they haven't been playing all bad. So I don't know. They haven't been getting wins though. So that's something. Madden's gonna actually take the Panthers too, and they're gonna say the Panthers win 17-14. Very low scoring game, very close game. But having the Panthers come on top, it could go that way. But it should be a more decisive victory for the Panthers, I think. But we'll have to see. Alright, next up we have the Falcons at the Packers. Very interesting one. Packers just lost to the Cardinals, which that shocked me. And they fired head coach Matthew McCarthy. Or Mike McCarthy. Sorry. Yeah, interesting stuff for the Packers going on there. I don't know what's going on with them. And the Falcons, they're pretty interesting too because they're still very injury. They lost to Ravens, still very injured on defense and all around. They kind of got shut down last week, so both teams kind of have pretty bad losses. I think the Packers one is worse, and yeah, losing your head coach is probably pretty big. I'm actually gonna take the Falcons to win this one. I think they'll be able to come up against the Packers. I think the Packers should have been the better team, but with the head coach firing and just the way they've been losing, I'm feeling the Falcons here. I'm feeling the Falcons to kind of upset maybe. I don't know. Both of these teams are in bad positions and they should be in better positions. So this game should be way better than it is. It's unfortunate, but it's just how it went down. So, I don't know. I think the Falcons are going to come out on top here. But this one was kind of a hard one to predict, too. I am going to take the Falcons. But the Packers could definitely come out on top. Bulls actually going to agree with my pick and say the Falcons are going to beat the Green Bay Packers. But man is going to take the Packers to beat the Falcons 31-21. Honestly, I could see it either way. Kind of wise of Madden to take the Packers and me and the Bull took the Falcons because that's definitely one we could get wrong, and that could be one more. The Madden needs all the picks more than us it can get. So yeah, I mean it could work, it could not. We'll have to see. Alright, next up we have the Broncos at the 49ers. And I'm taking the Broncos. The Broncos seem like they have an easy schedule coming towards the end here. They potentially could make a wild card. They're in a tough division with the Chiefs and Chargers, so they're not, I think winning their division is out the window and even being second. and making a third in your division, making a wild card's kind of hard to do. But for the Broncos here, they might just be able to do it. I think they're a better team than the 49ers, at least without Jimmy G 49ers. Because as we saw last year, Jimmy G can really change that team. But the 49ers haven't been doing well. Always been losing. It's easy pick here. Broncos should win this one. Notice I said should, because in football sometimes you just never know. But yeah, I'm taking the Broncos to beat the 49ers. The Bulls going to take the 49ers to upset the Broncos. Wow, that's a pick. But Madden's going to take it too. Madden's going to say the 49ers beat the Broncos 33-7. Wow. That score is not going to happen. I might let the 49ers upset saying the Broncos. I might let that prediction slide. But 33-7, nah, I'm sorry. That's maybe with Jimmy G, not with whoever they. Oh, Nick Mullins, I think. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I'm pretty sure the Broncos got this one, but hey, maybe they choke, maybe they upset. That'd be a dagger to them, because that would just kill their playoff hopes. Next up we have the Bengals at the Chargers. And I'm taking the Chargers. Chargers, clear better team. They pretty much have a wild card spot locked up. The Chiefs most likely win that division unless I think they have a game coming up, Chiefs and Chargers. So that might be an interesting one. But yeah, they're Chargers going to make the playoffs somehow, some way. Bengals are not, and yeah, the Chargers are gonna win here. I'm pretty sure. No matter. I just think the Chargers are gonna win. The Bulls gonna take the Bengals. Yeah, I've been a little bit upsetty here. Not sure what the Bulls trying to do, but yeah, I guess the Bengals could beat the Chargers. Look bad for the Steelers because they just choked to them. But, a little bit of ref help. But mine's going to say the Bengals take the the Bulls going to say the Bengals beat the Chargers. Mine's going to agree with me and say the Chargers beat the Bengals 30-17. And I like that score. And I think the Chargers will be able to win against the Bengals. Alright. Next up, we have the Eagles at the Cowboys. I'm going with the Cowboys. I like the Cowboys. They beat the Saints. They have actually looked pretty good towards this last swing in towards the end of the year. I think they'll be able to beat the Eagles, who have proved to be struggling a little bit. The Eagles have actually won a couple of these last couple games. They beat the Giants, and now they beat the Redskins. Now they have their third divisional rival, the Cowboys, and I just don't think they'll be able to beat them. I think the Cowboys are going to be able to win this. I have more faith in the Cowboys than the Eagles. But yeah, it could go either way. I think the Cowboys, the Bull also thinks the Cowboys are going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And man's going to make this a three-way agreement saying the Cowboys beat the Eagles 37-10. A lot more decisive than I think it's going to be, but we'll see. We'll see. Alright, next up we have the Lions at the Cardinals, and I'm taking the Lions. The Lions are the better team here. Cardinals somehow got a victory against the Packers. Don't know how, and other than that, they won. They got to beat the 49ers twice. Neither of the times did they have Jimmy G. I think the Lions, even though they're not the best team either, I think they are better than the Cardinals. So I'm going to take them to beat the Arizona Cardinals. And the Bull is going to take the Lions as well and agree with me. And man's going to make this three-way agreement saying the Lions beat the Cardinals 42-14. Wow, an absolute blowout. Not sure if the Lions can do that to the Cardinals, but they can beat them by some pointage. I don't know. Maybe that much, but I'm not sure. Alright, next up, my team, my game, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Raiders. And I'm taking my Steelers, as you guys know. The Raiders are 2-10. The Steelers have lost 2 straight games. They need a win in the AFC West. So, because they lost to the Chiefs, they lost to the Chargers, and lost to the Broncos. They can't choke to the Raiders. I don't think they will. The Steelers are going to make this look way closer than it is going to be. And it should be. But I think they're going to end up coming out on top. If they don't, Steelers have major problems and they need to fix it ASAP. And, ooh, the Bull is going to take the Raiders. Oh, to beat my Steelers. Oh my goodness, would I be so upset if that happened. Man's going to take the Raiders to beat the Steelers 27-25. I like that score more than I should because I know the Steelers are going to drag this out and make it seem like it's going to be a closer game than it is. And it should be an absolute blowout. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe the Steelers prove me wrong, I hope they do, but from my experience as a Steelers fan, I think that's what's going to happen. And it's going to make me very upset. If they lose, I don't even know, guys. I don't even know. Last up, Monday Night Football. Vikings at the Seahawks. I'm going with the Vikings. Seahawks have been on fire lately. They actually looking like they could make the playoffs here. Vikings have actually been losing. They faced a tough team in the Patriots last week. Seahawks had an easier matchup against the 49ers. I think the Vikings are going to win this one. I think they have the better defense, and I think they are the better team, actually, regardless of what record says. I like the Vikings more than the Seahawks in skill, like players-wise, and I think they're the better team when it comes down to it. But yeah, I think the Seahawks do have the better record, or maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but yeah, Vikings, they need a win here. Seahawks, both these teams need to win, but I think the Vikings will. I think they will be able to beat the Seahawks. The Bull, however, is going to disagree with me and say the Seahawks beat the Vikings. Men, however, is going to agree with me and say the Vikings beat the Seahawks 35-13. I think this is actually going to be a pretty good game. We'll have to see how it plays out. This actually is more of a toss-up than I thought it would be. But at the end of the day, I think the Vikings can come out on top. Alright, let's recap this real quick here. Jaguars at Titans. I'm taking the Titans. Bulls taking the Titans. Man's taking the Jaguars. Jets at Bills. I'm taking the Bills. Bulls taking the Bills. Man's taking the Jets. Giants at Redskins. I'm taking the Giants. Bulls taking the Giants. Man's taking the Redskins. Saints at Buccaneers. I'm taking the Saints. Bulls taking the Saints. Man's taking the Saints. Patriots at Dolphins. I'm taking the Patriots. Bulls taking the Dolphins. Man's taking the Patriots. Ravens at Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs. Bulls taking the Chiefs. Man's taking the Chiefs. Colts at Texans. I'm taking the Texans. Bulls taking the Colts. Madden is taking the Texans. Rams at Bears. I'm taking the Rams. Bulls taking the Rams. Man's taking the Rams. Panthers at Browns. I'm taking the Panthers. Bulls taking the Browns. Madden's taking the Panthers. Falcons at Packers. I'm taking the Falcons. Bulls taking the Falcons. Madden's taking the Packers. Broncos at 49ers. I'm taking the Broncos. Bulls taking the 49ers. Man's taking the 49ers. Bengals at Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers. Bull is taking the Bengals. Man's taking the Chargers. Eagles at Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys. Bulls taking the Cowboys. Man's taking the Cowboys. Lions at Cardinals. I'm taking the Lions. Bulls taking the Lions. Man's taking the Lions. Steelers at Raiders. I'm taking the Steelers. Bulls taking the Raiders. And man's taking the Steelers. Vikings at Seahawks. I'm taking the Vikings. Bulls taking the Seahawks. And Madden is taking the Vikings. And that wraps up my Season 14 NFL game predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see how we all did, make sure you watch Week 15's predictions. We're going to wrap it all up like we did with Week 13 in this video. Hopefully with less mistakes, but can't promise anything there. And then we'll get right into the Week 15 predictions. This season's wrapping up. I will be making a episode for the playoffs after Week 17, and then after the playoffs, I will be kind of just recapping everything and comparing everyone's prediction for the playoffs and how it actually went down. But that's still a whiles away because we still got a couple weeks left in regular season football. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like or dislike, subscribe or don't subscribe. No, it's always up to you. And I'll see you guys in the next video you watch of me. Goodbye.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong.